Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Ed Saavedra. So, as many of you know, August 24 is coming up in just a couple of weeks. Now, here's the thing, that's Valve's 30th anniversary. Like exactly 30 years to the day that Gabe Newell founded the company back in 1996. Now, a lot of people online are starting to think that that could actually be the day that Valve finally reveals the Steam frame. Now, to be clear, Valve hasn't confirmed anything as of yet. It's all just speculation at the moment, but the signals are stacking up around the date and they are honestly getting harder to ignore. So today, I just want to break down where the August 24 date is coming from, the signals that are pointing at launch, and the $1,500 price rumor that is floating around because that number is not a confirmed leak. Now, Gabe founded the company with Mike Harrington right after they left Microsoft. So this month hits the exact 30-year mark. Valve also confirmed a summer 2026 release window for the Steam frame. Summer ends in mid to late September, so late August is a natural remaining slot inside that window. Now, the current Pins and Pegs Steam Fest ends August 20th, and that pretty much leaves August 24 as a clean start of a new week for the launch. Also, Linus from Linus Tech Tips basically hinted on recent streams that he doesn't have a review unit as of yet, but that might be changing soon. So if review units are shipping to major creators at the moment, that gives them roughly 2 weeks with the hardware before August 24th. And that is basically how these embargoes usually work out. Tying a major hardware reveal for the 30th anniversary would be a clean marketing moment for Valve. Nothing is confirmed at the moment, but nothing on the public timeline basically rules it out either. Now, real quick, guys, if you like these kinds of Valve hardware breakdowns, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Now, in a second, I want to get into the $1,500 price rumor and whether it is actually real, so stick around for that. So let's start with the games, because that is where this update gets interesting. Half-Life 2 VR mod has received Steam Frame verification. That is the free community-made mod that pretty much turns Half-Life 2 into a full VR game. You still need to own Half-Life 2, but the mod itself is free through Steam. Now, honestly, that is a smart early addition. It basically gives the headset a recognizable Valve title already built around motion controls. It also joins a verified list that is now past 65 titles, and not just traditional VR games. Valve is also approving flat-screen games like Shredder's Revenge and Streets of Rage 4, which basically fits the whole idea of the Steam frame handling VR, PC streaming, and standalone flat-screen games all in one device. Now, as an interesting side note, the Half-Life 2 VR devs basically mentioned that adding eye-track foveated rendering was one of the last places that got the mod over the performance threshold. And that brings me to the biggest technical surprise of this whole update. A developer named Brian Lindoff, who makes a VR game called Climby, noticed that his game suddenly gained up to 20 frames per second on Steam Frame hardware, and he didn't even touch anything. So the reason for that is that Valve quietly enabled system-level foveated rendering injection, and that basically means that the developer didn't have to code that in. Valve turned it on the OS level, and the game just started rendering only the area that you actually look at in full detail. That is a big deal. So up until now, foveated rendering had to be built into the game by the developer. If Valve can actually inject it at the system level for x86 games running through their compatibility layers, a whole batch of games that were borderline on-frame hardware just became viable. And that compatibility layer is showing up in a few other places too. So FEX and Lepton are now on Steam backend. FEX translates x86 PC software to run on the headset's ARM-based Snapdragon chip. And Lepton handles Android software so that Valve can bring standalone VR games over from Android-based headsets. Now, on top of that, SteamOS 3.8.25 beta just dropped with preliminary Steam Frame wireless adapter support in the patch notes. That's the software layer for the actual wireless dongle that connects the frame to a PC. So Valve doesn't put preliminary support for a product into a public beta unless the product is close. Now, the same beta also added the Steam Controller 2026 to HID Steam. So the entire Valve controller and headset stack is quietly going live at the same time. The hardware side is moving too. So Valve's Model 1015, identified in regulatory materials as the Steam frame, reportedly cleared the FCC on July 29. That doesn't confirm a launch date, but it clears a required regulatory step before the wireless headset can be sold in the United States. And then on August 3rd, a 40-foot container arrived with Valve listed as the importer. The manifest reads VR controller and HMD plus VR controller accessory. And since then, another shipment matching the same description basically arrived. And this isn't just one container, right? It's an ongoing pattern of VR hardware landing in Valve's US warehouses. Now, let's be clear about the price story. So the price leak isn't an actual price leak, right? It's just creators actually changing their minds and taking a better guess at what that hardware might actually cost. So there was basically a Valve-focused creator that stated that his previous $1,100 guess for the base Steam frame now seems a little bit too low. His reaction to the possible price was that it's just too much, right? That's the source of the rumor, so that person never actually confirmed an MSRP or even said that Valve settled on $1,500. Now, other reports then turned to a much higher than $1,100, and they estimated it at $1,200 to $1,500, and that isn't a price leak, it's just one creator's estimate, right? Now, could the frame still be expensive? Of course. I mean, we've already seen the price of the Steam machine, and after these memory and storage costs basically shifting, and just looking at what the frame is packing, 16 gigs of LPDDR5X, storage, displays, lenses, cameras, eye tracking, controllers, and a battery. Yeah, so you can pretty much start guessing the cost, right? Now, until Valve actually announces a number, I'm not treating $1,500 as the price, right? We made the predictions before the Steam machine launched, and the market moved under everybody. Now, the better move here is to actually wait for what Valve says. So the price rumor is grabbing headlines, but it's the least concrete part of all of this, right? Everything else is real. 65 verified games, those are real. FEX and Lepton on Steam are real. SteamOS 3.8.25 beta with wireless adapter support is also real, and system-level foveated rendering is real. Now, there is no single clue that gives us a launch date, but together, Valve is clearly much closer to a complete product. And this is why August 24th basically keeps coming up. The 30th anniversary lines up with the closing summer window, and review unit rumors are stacking up on top of that. And also, every technical signal is pointing in the same direction. Whether Valve uses that exact date or lets it pass, we're clearly just in the final stretch. Now, one more thing worth mentioning. So there are early rumblings that Valve is trying to optimize half-life to basically run great on the frame in standalone mode. Nothing is confirmed as of yet, but if that lands, it might be a massive launch title. And when that price arrives, what's your limits, right? Would you consider the Steam frame below $1,000, or are you waiting for reviews no matter what Valve actually charges? Now, for more Valve hardware news and updates, check out savage.com. I'm at Saavedra. Thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you all in the next one.